Hello and welcome to the Rich Salad Show. We are back with another week of exciting topics in the world of movies and TVs. We love all of that here. We welcome all opinions. We have a fun time here. Let's bring in our guy, David. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We got Childish Gambino in TV show trailers. Um, we got first 5 episodes of season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen and exciting up and coming movie news and first looks.
Correct. Yeah, we're talking about the Beatles films, which still that how they're rolling that out is really interesting. So we'll get into that. Some Fast and Furious news we didn't think we'd get anytime soon, but hey, we got something. Then we're getting into Highlander, which is a franchise I've not seen, but I'm very excited for. But with that being said, let's get into our first topic, which is Daredevil Born Again. Now, going into because this is season 2 and Daredevil Born Again, which is a second part of this franchise because it first started on Netflix back in the 2010s, and Daredevil began this great run. Well, I wouldn't say great run of Netflix shows because there was some shows that did not work. But when you think of Daredevil, all the seasons were fantastic in my opinion. When you think of The Punisher, oh my goodness, which The Punisher, we're getting a Punisher special sometime in the next few months, which is very exciting because just anything with John Bernthal is fantastic. He is so much fun to watch, and him playing as the Punisher is ridiculously good. He is so good at what he does. He's also going to be in the Odyssey coming out in summer, so that'll be fun. David, we'll see him in there. Be a good time. There was this slew of Netflix shows that came out, and then eventually, once they kind of made their way over to Disney Plus, Disney Plus was like, "Hey, let's revamp this, or let's bring back this Daredevil show." And Daredevil Born Again season 1 came out last year. And David, we've been talking about this. Is that what would be great is if TV shows could return to the form of every year. Let's get a new season every year. And this show is doing it. They plan on doing a new season every year, which is glorious. David, it's
Let's
glorious.
go.
We love to see it here. And with a show like Daredevil, you get the action. In terms of just the superhero-ness of TV shows and movies, Daredevil is just so badass because he totally and I mean with the superhero-ness of it, because when you think back to the Netflix shows, to the Netflix seasons, it was way more grounded than it is now. Because since he's made his way into the more MCU style, he's gotten heightened a little more with his acrobatics. Because I guess in the I'm not too familiar with the comics, but in the comics, he I think he does some like way more superhero things than he would normally do in like a grounded show. But we get more of an expressive Daredevil within this within these past 2 seasons, and I'm here for it. We get more Kingpin action. We get Jessica Jones in there. Jessica Jones was one of those Netflix shows that came out in the 2010s. I liked season 1 a lot. Season 2, I think there was 3 seasons. Season 2, it just didn't do it for me. I kind of fell off in the midst of season 2, but she's a great character, Kristen Ritter. And I mean, our big guy in this with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, he is a force. And I mean, I think this guy's in his 60s, and I mean, look at him. He's looking all sorts of just big, and like he's ready to pound in all sorts of ways. He's ready to go at it. And I think in this season we'll probably see Mark and Kingpin probably fight, which would be epic. And I think people have been wanting to see that since the show has left Netflix and came to Disney Plus. I'm just super excited. I think in terms of a trailer, because it's a quick trailer, it's about like maybe a little over a minute, and the way it's edited is really fun. You get a great look at all these characters. It's cool to see Bullseye, who came from the Netflix shows. He was such a great character, and we're seeing more of the anti-vigilante task force that was brought into last season and their prowess around New York City. They're normalizing that, and to see how Daredevil and what seems like he's building his gang of superheroes, or his gang of heroes that are going to fight these the fight that injustice. I'm very curious to see how that shakes out. We get more of Matt and Karen, which their relationship in the show and in the original Netflix series was always so special. It's always interesting bringing a love interest into a superhero show because, in my opinion, it could either detract from the just the epicness of it, or it could really work. And in this case, I think it really works. They have great chemistry on camera, and we're getting more of their kind of just working togetherness within this trailer, which is great because she's not going to be shunned at all, which seems like. And now, David, so what's interesting is with season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, that came off of the tail end of the era when Disney was just dumping stuff, when they were just making a bunch of shit, and it didn't have a lot of care within it. So because it was at
Mm.
the tail end, and Kevin Feige got his control back, they almost, I wouldn't say Frankenstein season 1, but they kind of did. But they really made the best they could have done with what they had with season 1. Because in my opinion, season 1 was really fun. It's not perfect by any stretch, but there's just beautiful moments within season 1. And what's very interesting about that is with season 2, it's a fresh slate. Like, it's the creators, everyone, like Kevin Feige has his control back. Everyone knows what they're doing on season 2. So this is most likely going to be a much more polished season of television for Daredevil season 2, which is very exciting. And I just cannot wait to see the action. And Daredevil never slouches on the action. It's cool, David. So, like, in every season of Daredevil, they usually do a one-shot hallway scene with Daredevil just fighting nonstop, and it goes for a long time. So they do a great job at it, and I'm sure they're going to do the same here with season 2. Clear that this team knows exactly what they're doing. Yeah, we get just a great weird smile from him at the very end, but Daredevil
It's just
season
an
2.
unnerving smile.
Right. As someone like Daredevil who fights with the devil within him. David, I'm curious, are you familiar with Daredevil in any stretch?
So I'm not, other than Daredevil is like a lawyer, I guess.
Yeah, lawyer by day, Daredevil by night.
Lawyer by day, Daredevil by night. And I guess there's like a main villain named Kingpin.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kingpin in the comics, I want to say he was mainly a Spider-Man villain, but I could be wrong. I think both of them, both Daredevil and Spider-Man, have kind of had Kingpin fights equally. Maybe Daredevil more so, probably Daredevil more so. But he's just honestly, he's just a big baby that's super strong. That's essentially what he is. But the way Vincent D'Onofrio plays him, it's perfect. And time again, Marvel casting has proven they know what they're doing with casting, and with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Yeah, they're great.
Was Kingpin in the first Spider-Verse?
He was, yeah, that was him. The
So
the giant ass dude.
yeah, the tiny head, the tiniest
Uh-huh.
head imaginable, and the shoulders just as wide as can be. So that Kingpin is essentially, it's not the same, but it is in a way.
Right. It's the same but different. It's a different iteration of the
Okay.
character.
Okay. I got the image in my head now of what he's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. We also got a shot. Yeah, there he is right there, clear shot. Matthew Lillard in here. Yeah, I'm curious to see who he plays. He's always a great
Oh,
time. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like
Shaggy himself.
he's some he's somewhat involved with maybe with the police. Seems like he's leading some sort of case or whatever. Maybe a private investigator of some sort. Yeah, with Jessica Jones coming back, people speculated maybe we get more of the Netflix heroes coming back, because we had there was Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. And Iron Fist was not great, to say the kindest. And Luke Cage started off strong, but did not finish strong. Super, super excited for this. Daredevil, Born Again Season 2. Can't wait to see the fights. Can't wait to see what they're doing story-wise, because now they have a clean slate to work with. And we'll see if he shows up in any Avengers films. I think people are speculating. Honestly, I don't think he will. He's very grounded, and of course there's always a possibility. It was cool to see him because he popped up in Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, it would be great to see him in some Avengers film, but I don't think we're going to see him. So Daredevil, Born Again, season 2. Let us know your thoughts, guys, if you're excited for this new season of Daredevil. All right, guys, with that down, we are moving on to our next topic, which we're getting into some Highlander action. Now, I'm not familiar with Highlander, but we talk about him, seems like on every show. Mr. John Campia, my man, says he loves Highlander. And the way he has described the franchise that came out, I want to say 80s, 90s era, it sounds super interesting. And the fact that we have my man, Chad Stahelski, directing this from John Wick. Holy cow. I'm levitating, David. I'm gonna levitate out of my house because I love Chad Stahelski and I love John Wick so much.
So
With
as
that
you're
being
reading the article, you just start to rise.
yeah.
Just rise all the way up. Outside the chimney. People recording you. Oh my gosh, look up in the sky.
And I'm just like, Chad
screaming,
Stahelski, guys, come on. It's Chad.
Stahelski. It's
He's doing
filming Highlander.
Yes. All right. So Henry Cavill released images, first images, which instantly remind me of John Wick. I mean, like this right here looks like John Wick to me. But Henry Cavill teases these first looks at Highlander. So we got there can be only one. If you're referring to the day of the first Highlander images appeared online, that's right. Highlander fans leading star Henry Cavill took to his personal Instagram this morning to share the first 2 official images of his long gestating Highlander reboot, which is now in production. Now, which is interesting because Henry Cavill was just in an accident late last year. I think he broke his leg. It was because of this, and now he's back. So good to know he's all rested up. And again, I cannot wait for this, mainly because of Chad Stahelski. Yeah, we also got Russell Crowe in there, who plays Ramirez, which I think is some sort of mentor to Henry Cavill, which Henry Cavill is playing Connor McLeod, and Ramirez is like his mentor in a way, which is interesting because you think to the film Man of Steel, Superman, you had Henry Cavill as Superman and you had Russell Crowe as Jor-El, his father. So you get that reunion, which is awesome. And you get Dave Bautista coming in to play, I think his name is the Kurgan, which I think is the main villain. So Dave Bautista, always a great time. Coming out of the Guardians trilogy and other films, it seems like he's getting better every time he's acting. You also got Jeremy Irons in there, Jaimon Hansu, Kieran Gillen. So you have some MCU people in here, which is pretty funny. Oh yeah, we're getting into the world. We're getting into the world of Highlander. So we got our 2 images. We got that one and that one. We'll start with this one. You can see the mic up top. It's kind of funny. So that's clearly just a set photo, but like beautiful for a set photo.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like John Wick to me, which is glory in my eyes. But so what's really cool is that the Highlander is like, they are immortal, and so Henry Cavill plays this immortal being. So I guess he's been on Earth for a substantial amount of time. And the way the Highlanders are, I guess the saying is there can be only one. So there's always this some sort of, and I'm sure people will correct us, there's always this big battle that takes place, or where each one of them are kind of facing off, and there can be only one. And over the course of centuries, I guess, of being alive, they know so many different styles of sword fighting. And so Henry Cavill had to learn multiple different versions of sword fighting, which is super interesting. And when you think John Wick director with swords, and that's what people have described this film, it's like, if you think John Wick with swords, this is what you got. I'm like, yes, let's go, come on. I'm so amped, man. And for these first look images, for the style of it, this right here screams John Wick to me. And I brought up an image of John Wick 2. I mean, come on. Very similar.
The aesthetic, the colors,
the frame.
The frame.
How it's framed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always love how John Wick ties on those. I mean, what would you call it? Just like vintage, ancient, other country type architecture. European, I guess, Middle Eastern, all that stuff. Because John Wick has gone around the world, and man, it's always a fun time. But I mean, to think John Wick with swords, I'm all in. David, what do you think of Highlander? Are you interested in something like this?
This is really interesting to me. So you mentioned that Henry Cavill's character has had to learn different styles of sword fighting.
Well, I'm saying Henry Cavill himself has had to learn.
Uh,
So thus the character knows multiple styles of sword fighting.
so the premise is that he's an immortal being. Highlanders are immortal being. He's
Mhm.
a Highlander. They all know different styles of sword fighting.
Sword fighting, yeah. And I guess, I mean, because I know there were two Highlander films, or might have been three, but I heard after the first one, it gets stupid, comically stupid. But the way the mythos is set up is apparently really intriguing. So of course I've not seen the first Highlander, so I don't know. But from what I hear, it sounds great. And to reboot this with Chad Stahelski coming off of the John Wick franchise, I feel like he knows exactly what to do with franchises and make them exciting, make them interesting with the lore. Because I mean, what's super cool about John Wick, not only the action and just Keanu Reeves himself, but the lore behind the high table and all the different interactions with how he gets his weapons, how he gets to different hotels, everything around that. Even with the film Ballerina, which I love, came out last year, just dove into the world of John Wick more. And I think a director who knows how to handle that and handle that successfully comes into Highlander and reboots it in that light. Like, let's go, man.
Really enveloping the viewer in the world, but they feel like they're picking up on hints or little things that make it more interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
There is a where you're talking about the premise. It sounds somewhat similar in a way to the very popular anime that just had an amazing, very, very profitable movie last year, Demon Slayer. The main premise of the action fighting from the human perspective is they have a different styles of sword fighting, different techniques, look different, do different things to fight the demons.
Okay.
So honestly, this shot reminds me a lot of Demon Slayer, especially the movie Infinity Castle. Kind of the lanterns in the background and the candles on the bottom. The colors remind me of the Infinity Castle very much, and also the what he is wearing is very similar to what the Demon Slayers wear in terms
Okay.
of their costumes. I guess it's animated, so not in costumes, but their character design.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you're getting me excited for this, and I'm excited for this. For it looks like live action Demon Slayer, which would
Right.
be, which I'm thinking that into my mind, which would be really cool in my
Right.
mind. But it's also live action. It's also John Wick with swords, which is like really really cool. So excited on multiple levels for this.
Absolutely. I think we're gonna get a visual spectacle too. Because what's really like low key, uh, a champion of the John Wick films is the cinematography. They really know what they're
Yes,
doing. They're
yes,
super intentional. I mean, like when I think back to do you remember the whole catacomb sequence in chapter two? Where it's
yes,
cool because like he plants his guns at certain spots, and then when he gets to
yeah.
those spots, he takes them out. And it's just like knowing how to. I mean, like they all know how to navigate that camera and the road that camera is going to go. Like, it's almost like the camera goes up on a journey itself
Hmm.
throughout certain sequences, like especially in John Wick Chapter 4 when they do the overhead shot, the dragon's breath, just holy cow, just the idea of that and executing that at such a high level and having it work is so impressive. So to think they could do things like that within a franchise like this, I'm super excited, and it's cool because it's like they're tackling similar things like John Wick with the action, with probably the lore, but there is like a fantastical thing about this too, because immortals are not real. So to dive into more of the fantastical within this franchise sounds really exciting, and
Hmm.
cannot wait to see what Chad Stahelski has in store for all of us. I think so. They're shooting it. So they're shooting it right now. I think it's coming. If I had to guess, maybe late next year at the earliest. But we shall see. Super excited for it. Let us know, guys, if you're excited for Chad Stahelski's Highlander. All right, guys. With that down, we're moving on to something fast, something hopefully furious. We shall see, because we finally got a confirmation that the next installment of Fast and Furious is coming from Vin Diesel himself. Sets a date for 2028. Vin Diesel is reviving revving the engines for the race one more quarter mile. Universal has officially dated the next Fast and Furious installment, now titled Fast Forever, for March 17th, 2028. Franchise star and producer Diesel also shared the news on Instagram, posting a photo of himself with the late Paul Walker from the original film 2001's Fast Furious. Diesel captioned the post, "No one said the road would be easy, but it's ours. One that has defined us and become our legacy, and a legacy lasts forever." And there's the image he posted, which is pretty sweet. Which begs the question, and I know people have been speculating if Paul Walker will return. And I'm curious, David, what do you think about the Fast and Furious franchise? Have you seen them all? Have they been fancied by you?
You know, I haven't seen any of them, to be honest.
Really?
No, yeah, I
Okay.
have not seen any of them, but they have to keep making money because they keep making them.
They do, yeah. I mean, what's interesting is, so I want to say the first three, maybe four, didn't make much. Well, once they got to it's like Fast Five was like, boom, the flip. That, I mean, that was when The Rock came in, and that's when things really changed, and that's when they started making billions. So it's like Fast Five, Fast Six, Fast Seven, Fast Eight. Fast Eight was when it started to teeter into the started to teeter, and then Fast Nine, dump show. Then then Fast 10 slash Fast X.
Trying to picture a movie with fast cars and people taking dumps.
Well, that is Fast 9 for you. It's not good. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, but what's interesting is Fast 10 didn't get lots of love either, like Fast 9, but I actually liked Fast 10 because I think we became to understand what they're doing with this franchise, which is just mayhem in terms of unrealistic things happening. And it seemed like, after Fast 5 they were getting to that realm, but not many people didn't want to see that, because the numbers don't lie. Because once it started to teeter at around Fast 8, that was when the numbers dropped. The box office dropped for sure, and they didn't make billions. I think Fate of the Furious did make $1 billion. I'm pretty sure it did. But yeah, Fast 9 did not, and Fast X did not. But hearing that we're coming back to Fast Furious, honestly, I'm very excited, because I think this franchise does need a send off. Going into Fast X, or coming off of Fast X, I was curious if they're going to make another one, and I think Vin Diesel was like, definitely, yeah, we're making another one. But the thing is, the box office just wouldn't give them a good return, because they wouldn't make what they used to make. And the way Vin Diesel spends their money, because he's essentially the guy behind this whole franchise. He's the captain, and the way he spends money has not been the best way. And you could see clearly it hasn't been leading to great return with Fast 9 and Fast X, because it seems like he's giving his castmates just a great vacation, because they're going everywhere. They go across the world and have a blast, clearly, which is great. They have a fun time, but you still need to make sure the movie is good, which has not been the case for the past two films. But again, yeah, coming off of Fast X, I was excited, and I did want more. And I'm hoping that this final film, and I think a lot of people are hoping as well, is that it brings it back to reality, brings it back to, and of course, the big meme of this franchise is family, just that word, and and coming back to hopefully like the house that the first film was. We're back in LA. We have this almost kind of underground racing scene again. I think just bring it back to the ground, and just have an old-fashioned race, have a good story with some great character moments behind it, just like any movie should. And hopefully it's good. And I'm curious if because with Paul Walker, it's interesting. That was such a devastating loss during Furious 7. That was the one where they did the send off with the "See You Again" song from Charlie Puth, which is a beautiful song. Which I actually made a music video to that song back in high school. It is high cringe, highest of cringe. We should probably react to it on the channel sometime.
Pull it up. I got some cringe videos on the internet.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you haven't seen them?
Like the ones that you've made?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I don't think so.
We might have to react to those.
We gotta trade. We gotta trade some videos.
Yeah, pure cinematic cringe.
Oh, that's great.
In my teenage years.
I'm excited for that. But man, also like when I think of my favorite Fast and Furious films, Too Fast, Too Furious, man. Like Paul Walker with the Skyline, such a beautiful car, and that was such a fun time.
This is a beautiful shot right here.
It's cool.
I think maybe I just like the way the cars look.
Possibly.
More than the shot itself.
Possibly, yeah. Here's where it started to this is where things started to teeter. I think this was from Fast. Was it from Fast X? Fast X or Fast 9? This one so this the car was flying, but the car had cables attached to each helicopter. And as the car was flying down, the cables thus brought the helicopters to each other and exploded.
That's so cool.
So, I mean, hey, it's fun.
That's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah, that's just a sliver of the ridiculousness of what Fast and Furious became. But yeah, it's
so good.
I mean, the Fast and Furious flyers. That's all they do. Because also a big joke was that like they're gonna go to space in a car, and they did.
They did.
In Fast 9, they strapped our freaking rinky-dink whatever car with a giant just rocket on it. And they went straight up. They did it.
That's hilarious.
And I remember being in theaters and I'm like, holy crap, they did it. They really went to space.
They went to space.
But regardless, I digress. I'm quite excited for Fast Forever. And I think that's a great name to finish off the franchise and possibly bring Paul back, because I think the question was, could one of his brothers, maybe both of his brothers, come back and do some digital thing with it? I don't know about that. Or maybe almost like pulse like a recast potentially. I mean, maybe I don't know how that would be well received. I mean, it's been a while since he has passed, so I think feelings have maybe settled. Like I'm sure after he passed, and if they recast it, no one would do that. No one would be down for that. So we'll see. But Fast Forever coming in 2028. Hopefully we don't get any more space walks. Because if we do, that's oh god. But Fast Forever coming in 2028. Let us know what you guys think. Are you excited for it? Let us know. All right, guys. With that down, we're moving on to our next topic. We're getting into the world of music and back to the world of biopics with an interesting run or an interesting delivery of films, because we're getting 4 Beatle films, one focused on each of the Beatles. I've not seen any approach to that. So coming from director Sam Mendes, 4-film Sony project has begun production and will hit theaters in April of 2028. So when I was watching, we always talk about the guy on the show, John Campia. So he goes to CinemaCon every year. That happens in April. David, so CinemaCon is like it's essentially, I wouldn't say like Comic-Con for the theater business, but it's a big convention for theater owners and film critics and everyone in that space. And they show the slate of films coming out for the next, usually for the next 12 months. So it's usually like, so if they show it in April, then it's until the next April that all the films that are coming out. So all big studios like Sony, Disney, Lionsgate, some studios sit out each year, but for the most part, it's lots of big studios, Warner Brothers. And last year, which studio was this? Was this Lionsgate? Well, oh, Sony. So when Sony did the presentation, they brought out these 4 guys, and they're like, and it's interesting because it's coming out in 2028. So we didn't. Usually it's the next year, but they're like, no, we're going to do this in 2028. So, which makes sense because you have 4 films. You want a substantial amount of time to make something like this, and I feel like something like this is going to be pretty massive. Has the potential to be very massive. And bringing out 4 of these guys, 4 fantastic actors. All of these guys crush it in whatever they do. They always bring it. So production has begun on the 4 films that will each focus on a different band member. So the big thing with this, and I'm not a Beatles guy at all. I love music. I've tried listening to the Beatles. There has been some tracks that's I have liked, but for the most part, not much. But we'll take a look at these posters, which look great. And I mean, Paul Mescal, I mean, that looks like Paul McCartney to me, as far as I'm concerned. Holy cow. We have our guy Eddie Munson playing the guitar again as George Harrison. Eddie. Barry Keoghan, which he is one of my favorite actors in the business right now. He crushes any performance he does as Ringo. So I'm very interested in the Ringo story because I like drumming and I want to see what he does with that. And then we got Harris Dickinson, which he was in the film Iron Claw with Zac Efron, and it was the whole biopic about the wrestlers, all based on true events. And it was, holy cow, one of my favorite movies ever. Just a gut-wrenching story. And he plays a very prominent role in that, and he is great. So can't wait to see him in this. But David, curious, what's your thoughts on this rollout of films? I mean, we get 4 films, 1 focus on each of the band members. What do you think?
4 films is a lot, and the fact that they're waiting till 2028 for the first one shows.
No, so I think they might be dropping them all at around the same time. I think that's what it is.
Okay, so I still think
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. So even if they're putting out all 4 films in 1 year in 2028, I guess that's still that's a lot. But it's and I don't want to say that's like rushed, but I guess it depends on how long things take to shoot, and things might not take very long to shoot, depending on creative decisions that are made. So it seems like a lot, but it might not be, and it seems like they're taking their time, at least with this. I mean, I think about a movie that shot the Lord of the Rings trilogy. All 3 movies were shot at once. So the whole trilogy was for the production crew and director and actors felt like one big movie. They released it over subsequent years, in 99, 2000, and 2001, I believe. It's definitely doable. It's possible. That had 26 months of pre-production. That trilogy. So I can imagine the time that has took place already in pre-production for something like this, making sure things are connected, and they're probably going to have lots of cool, maybe unique callbacks to it. And I wonder, what like if these are all dropping in a year, this could be a huge theater event.
So I just looked back at the article, and it says a 4-film cinematic event hits theaters in April 2028.
What? That's
so
crazy. Wow.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Okay, so I mean, this is a big risk, in my opinion. Like, you're really trying to get everyone to see all 4 movies. I mean,
I wonder if it's each week is a new film. You have 4 weeks. Interesting rollout.
A very interesting rollout. I mean, if this works, this could set a precedent for future projects to come. I mean, this is very unique. This sounds extremely unique in terms of the design of that rollout. It's almost like a TV show, but in theaters. Super interesting stuff. Beatles are obviously, you think about movies taking IP. I mean, the Beatles are worldwide superstar phenomena, you have to think people are going to want to see it all over the world. So the fact that they're taking a unique and creative approach to the rollout suggests that they're very confident in these films.
Yeah, I think. Are you familiar with the film Yesterday?
I have heard of it. I heard it was good. I have not seen it.
It was pretty solid, and thinking the idea of it and like how the way it talked about Beatles, their music and their impact, it just reminds me like, yeah, they have that impact. They have the diehards and like you said, fans all over the world. I mean, and you put these fantastic actors behind each of these guys. I honestly don't see why this couldn't be just ginormous. And with Michael coming out this year, the Michael Jackson biopic coming out soon, coming out on my birthday too, with the potential how big that is. I guess when I think of like top music stars, you think of Michael Jackson, you think of Beatles. I'm very curious how those are going to stack up. It seems like with the hype of biopics, I think I mean Michael's going to be insane. I think Michael's clearly going to make a billion. I think there's no question. Just because it's MJ from the first teaser we got, it looks great. It looks really good. And we should be getting another trailer soon with Super Bowl around the corner. Honestly, we got to get something soon. They did release a short spot, maybe like a 30-second spot, but it was still kind of like showing all the stuff we've already seen with maybe some bits of new stuff. But yeah, we're due for a new trailer at any day. Yeah, I'm just super interested how this is gonna roll out. I mean, if they do week by week in April, I mean, who knows what the box office could perform? I'm also curious which artists they're gonna release first. Do they start with Paul? Do they start with Ringo? I don't know. And like, which artist do they finish off with? And how will they wrap up the entire story? So, lots of creative and interesting endeavors they could go into with this because I don't think we've seen anything like this as far as I'm concerned in terms of all of cinema. And with these four guys, I think this is possibly the right decision to go. I mean, unless you could just do a full biopic about just the Beatles.
Mhm.
But I don't know. This idea sounds super fascinating and I think will intrigue most people. And you're releasing it in April, so that's around springtime. So I think most people will probably want to go see it at the theater. At least I hope, because we need theaters to make that dough. Go out and make your
Yes, we
theaters
do.
dough, please. So that is the Beatles biopic, four-film biopic coming in 2028. What do you guys think? You think it's gonna work? Curious to hear your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're moving on to our last topic of the day, which David has some Jujutsu Kaisen for us. What you got for us?
Yeah, season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen is here. The first 5 episodes are now officially out. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised. I think a lot of people understand that this arc is not the best arc in the anime in the manga. The best arc is to come. So I think people were understanding of that. And so what surprised me is the change in style. This feels like a completely different show than what I watched in seasons 1 and 2. The tones and the colors are so much more neutral. The animation is more stylized. The art choices are much different than what I would have anticipated. There's been a lot of callbacks to Western media, and particularly in the most recent 2 episodes. In episode 4, there's a very specific scene from Kill Bill called The Bride versus the Crazy 88. That scene is basically not shot for shot, but there's a lot of shots that are very identical and heavy inspiration taken from it, and it looks really good in my opinion. I think it turned out very well. There has been, because of the way the arc is, there's been a lot of dialogue, and I think some people don't like that because the last 2 seasons were so action heavy and they felt more like an anime with really cool action fight sequences, where this almost feels more cinematic. It feels less like anime and more cinematic, stylized art. Perfect example of that was episode 4 when the massive reference to Kill Bill and everything that happened, in that scene. And then in episode 5, we finally get introduced to Hakari, which so many people are so excited about. I can't remember if I heard the creator specifically say this, but he has kind of based his character off Tyler Durden from Fight Club, where he essentially runs kind of an illegal sort of fighting ring. And what is a direct callback to the movie Fight Club is when the protagonist, Yuji, is trying to join the fighting ring. The bouncer is about to punch the protagonist in the face and says, "The first rule is you don't talk about Fight Club." Like that is the literal thing that he says, which I think is really cool for a Japanese anime to do that, to take heavy inspiration from Western media and things like Kill Bill and Fight Club. And Hakari kind of resembles a little bit of Tyler Durden. He's very much of a gambler, as they say, and kind of a swindler, very tough and rugged. Part of the reason why I think it has surprised me is because I have not watched an anime where I know the outcome. I've always watched an anime and never like read a manga beforehand as like I watched it. And so this one, with how much hype was around Jujutsu Kaisen, I think it has ruined the viewing experience a little bit for me. Just knowing what's going to happen. Like I don't know the sequences and the art style and whatnot, but I know what's going to happen. So I think that has ruined the experience a little bit for me. But this last shot with Hakari and the main protagonist, Yuji, this shot right here, this shot has caused a lot of buzz because this shot lasts for, to my knowledge, 4 minutes and 11 seconds, which is foreshadowing for something in the future that is yet to be revealed about Hakari's character. But this is I really love the creative direction they did this, because this could have been just a generic anime style of editing. They could have cut to the character's face. They could have and see their reactions and what they're thinking and blah, 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 blah. But it stays on this shot. Meanwhile, this shot was filmed in live action by two people. Two people were doing all of these character movements, and then the animation was rotoscoped and traced on top of the live action in the technique known as rotoscoping, which I haven't seen in anime do that. I've seen other things do that. And if you do an entire movie, which is what actually there was a Lord of the Rings animated movie that would the whole movie was rotoscoped. So if you do an entire thing that way, it almost looks cheesy. But because I think they had it in this specific moment, there was just so much tension built because everyone is expecting a cut. You're expecting a cut. And it just lingers and it lingers. But the characters are moving, they're talking, they're walking. It looks like a normal conversation, but it's a very tense moment because the protagonist doesn't want to reveal the identity to Hakari, Yuji. He doesn't want to reveal his identity to him because he knows that Hakari's not going to like that. They go back and forth in dialogue, and then a very tense moment happens and the phone rings. Hakari doesn't answer his phone. It's his phone that rings. He doesn't answer the phone, but that moment alone doesn't break the tension, but it heightens the tension because it adds, the sound of a phone to this kind of tense conversation in and of itself. And then there's the moment of realization, finding out, Hakari eventually finds out the identity of Yuji. And then while staying on this shot, Hakari goes and, attacks Yuji. And then I believe it cuts, and that's how the episode ends. But there's an action sequence, very brief, where Hakari gets up, throws a glass, uses some sorcery, attacks him, doesn't move or whatever. It looks really good. It's very brief, obviously. But I love the creative decision to do that, as opposed to do it the traditional anime style, which is very generic and, cutting to close-ups on people's faces and over emotion in a way, which there's definitely a time and place for it. I think what's happening is this season's going to be a massive, massive test for the production team and MAPPA because they absolutely have to nail the next arc of this anime. It will it will probably change anime history. It will probably change how things are done because of how popular the manga was. So almost feel like they're testing, like they're seeing how people are reacting to the unique kind of creative decisions that are made, trying to refine those as much as possible for the next arc, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing because I like what they have done so far in a kind of boring arc to start anyway.
All right. That all sounds super interesting, especially well, not only the ties to cinema, the ties to different films, the ties to Fight Club, the ties to Kill Bill, the the fact that they're implementing, and I love that with this scene. So you said the scene went on for like 4 minutes.
To my knowledge, it was 4 minutes 11 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah, so it felt absurdly long, but it stayed on this shot, right?
I believe so. Yes, it did. It stayed on this shot. The
Okay.
time I think that's what I heard. I need to go back and check, double check. I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean to build tension in that way sounds super ideal. And yeah, the way you described it was I could totally sense the tension that was going on in there. And especially the the method, like you said, rotoscoping over an actual live performance or a live depiction of that scene. That sounds great. I love that. That's just like implementing the real world within the fantastical. And I think to do that is a great way at selling realism. I'm trying to think like, well, the way they use mocap in video games, it's
Yeah,
just a great way to just make it feel more realistic. And
absolutely. And it can be very difficult to make something feel realistic, especially in an anime with
oh yeah,
crazy physics and magical
crazy.
powers. Like it can be animators can cut a lot of corners and it doesn't you're not immersed, it doesn't feel real. You know, a lot of people are really, really turned off by that. And so that's why I love that they did this.
All right, guys, that is David's talk on Jujutsu Kaisen. It was like episode 5, right?
The first 5 episodes, kind of a
First
recap
5.
of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds super interesting. Let us know what you guys' thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen first arc. Curious to hear your thoughts. And with that down, we have come to a close of episode 15, Rich Salad Show
1-5.
1-5, almost at
Man.
20. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it was kind of not a dull week, but weren't too many topics going on this week, but lots of exciting things nonetheless. We'll see what next week has in store. I feel like any day. Well, we're getting close to Super Bowl, so we're gonna get those trailers. I feel like I'm curious. What trailers do you think we'll get around Super Bowl?
I feel like we'll get Doomsday. I feel like we'll get Odyssey.
Which oh my god, Odyssey. Oh, we have to
Yes.
talk about that.
Did the you know what I'm talking about?
It's Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. Travis Scott is in the movie?
He's in there. It's
Oh, boy.
Travis Scott is in the Odyssey. Now, once I heard that, I initially thought it was one of his songs. I'm like, okay, there's no way. So it's not that, but seeing him in it, I'm like, oh, he's actually in it.
That's crazy.
Now you get something like someone like Christopher Nolan. He knows how to use anyone
He
that's
does.
in his crew. So I have full belief that he knows what he's doing with Travis Scott. I don't know if Travis Scott has acted before. To my knowledge, I don't think so. Maybe he did it in like high school.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if you have the performing gene, I feel like acting can
yeah, possibly.
you can pick it up, you know? And
Yeah, to be in a Nolan film though, like you gotta. I feel like you gotta you gotta have something.
right?
Ah,
You
but
brought something to the table that the premier filmmaker of our time saw and was like, "Yo, I want
yeah,
that."
yeah, yeah.
It's not for something that is genre specific even to Travis Scott at all.
No, I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
it's
who would have thought he was in this?
definitely not me.
Definitely not me. But yeah, it's because I don't think that it was like a 30-second spot that came out. It was I don't think it's on any like official account, but it's like almost like leaked in a way.
Okay.
And from what I saw and his delivery, because he was like reciting some sort of like passage or something like that. It
Okay.
sounded good.
Okay.
So
I don't think I've seen the clip actually. I think I saw
okay.
just a screenshot.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we might look into that after the show. I'm curious to see what you think because it is really interesting. But yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, any other trailers you think coming out?
I feel like we might get the
Disclosure Day.
Digger.
Oh, Digger. I don't. It's a little too far out because I think that comes out in around October. But then again, I mean, but well, dude,
Doomsday's later than that.
yeah, but Doomsday is Doomsday though. Like that's you gotta
Disclosure Day.
Disclosure
Look like
Day.
a
Yeah,
Disclosure Day. MJ. Definitely
MJ
getting
for sure.
definitely getting the Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's probably Supergirl, possibly another Supergirl one.
Supergirl.
Yeah, maybe some new stuff we haven't seen. There's there's a new film with Henry Cavill. We're just talking about Henry Cavill, called In the Gray from director Guy Ritchie, who's known for his sort of action, bombastic ways, and hopefully that could be pretty good. So that should be fun. But we'll see. Yeah, lots of exciting things coming this year. Super Bowl coming soon, so there's lots of trailers we'll be talking about here on the show. Thank you guys for sticking around. For sticking around, we really appreciate it. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that goodness, and we shall see you next week.